Hey everyone, welcome back to this two-part episode of Joey Show Nashville. This trip started out kind of impromptu and I decided I was going to go to Muscle Shoals, but I was going to take the long way and take the Natchez Trace Parkway, which is a national park that goes from Nashville, Tennessee down to Natchez in Mississippi, which is on the shores of the Mississippi River in the southern part of Mississippi. I decided I was going to take the trip all the way past the Tennessee River and then go to Muscle Shoals, spend a night, and then explore Muscle Shoals. Unfortunately, Muscle Shoals is not the sleepy little town that it once was, and there was no room at the inn. I went to two hotels and motels looking for a place to stay, and they were booked up. So being frustrated and tired, I decided to take the 2.5-hour journey on the interstate back to Nashville and came home. So sorry if you're expecting a trip to Muscle Shoals. It's not in this video. Now, however, if you are interested in seeing the Natchez Trace Parkway, at least the northern part, and some of the sights and history I saw along the way, including beautiful nature, then stick around for the next two episodes. If not, then wait for episode 196. So hopefully you enjoy it. Take care. Here's my trip. Hey guys, well, I'm on the Highway 100 heading west out of Nashville, Tennessee, and I just filled up with gas, about ready to start our trek on the Natchez Trace Parkway. It's just up the road here a little ways, so I'll talk to you real soon. Thanks for joining me on this trip. Pretty stoked about it.
I thought you was an angel. You flew away just like a bird. I thought you was an angel. You flew away just like a bird. Our trip to heaven was a detour through hell on earth. Spread your pretty wings for me, let me deep inside. When you was good and satisfied, away you would fly. Well, honey, you ain't no angel. You flew away just like a bird. Our trip to heaven was a detour through hell on earth. Might be a robin redbreast or a squawking blue jay. Might be the devil's own raven. It don't matter no how in a way. Honey, you ain't no angel. You flew away just like a bird. Our trip to heaven was a detour through hell on earth.
Hey guys, here I am. I'm at the beginning of the Natchez Trace Parkway, just outside of Nashville, Tennessee. Now, I'm kind of going about this trip the wrong way because most people who do this trip will start down in Natchez, Mississippi, right on the shore of the Mississippi River, because that's the original starting place of the traders. They would start down there when they would make the long walk from southern Mississippi all the way to up here to Nashville, Tennessee. But I'm going to go the opposite way, and I'm only going to take half the trip. And I'm going to cut in Alabama and go to Muscle Shoals. But I've never been on this parkway before. There's a lot of history here. Now, people that used to take this trail were traders and farmers and craftsmen that would put all their goods on barges down on the Mississippi River closest to their home state, and they'd head down the Mississippi down to Natchez, or in some cases down to New Orleans. They'd sell their goods, and after they'd sold everything, they'd head back up north. Now when they'd go back, they couldn't go back by boat because the river obviously flows down, and they were on rafts that they would sell down there as scrap lumber. But so what they would do is they would all walk up and then join in groups down in Natchez, Mississippi, and they'd walk up this trail. Now this trail could take like 5 weeks to walk, and it was really dangerous. There's a lot of thieves, outlaws, Native Americans that weren't too happy about them traipsing across their property. But this point that I'm at now is kind of what they call the terminus of the trail, because at this point they'd made most of the journey and they'd split up and go their different ways. Some would go out here to Nashville, which was less than an 8-hour walk from here, or there would be some people from Clarksville that would go up to Clarksville, about a day's journey, or even some places further like Louisville. But the people from Kentucky weren't the main travelers of this trail, because most of the travelers were from Ohio. But the people who took this trail kind of got the nickname of the Kentuckites. So go figure, right? Anyways, we're about to start this journey, so I just want to give you a little bit of history of this place. It is a national park. It's the longest national park in the entire 50 states. And let's see what we find, shall we? Now I've just passed through some of the most beautiful country of Tennessee that I've ever seen. And I've passed literally 10 historical sites along the way, and I just decided to stop off and check this out. I'm so short and at the beginning of my journey, and there's just been so much to see. But there's a little monument up here on the hill, so I want to check it out and see what it says. This monument memorializes War of 1812, soldiers buried along the old Natchez Trace, and it honors the service of all brave volunteers who marched on the Natchez Trace during the War of 1812 to help establish American independence. The Natchez Trace served as an important route to move troops for the defense of the Gulf Coast region. Tennessee Volunteer Cavalry, under leadership of Andrew Jackson, marched down the Natchez Trace in January 1813. General Jackson marched with his soldiers on their return, April 1813. Soldier detachments under Jackson's command again marched on the Natchez Trace in 1814, following the victory at the Battle of New Orleans. Most of the Americans who fought the battle returned on the trace. Volunteers marched hundreds of miles, often in severe weather with little food and inadequate equipment. Natchez Trace inns served as hospitals. Soldiers who did not survive the marches are buried in unmarked graves along the trace. On General Jackson's return near this point, he proclaimed his view of the significance of the victory earned by the soldiers. Our sacrifices will henceforth be respected. Tennessee State Society, United States Daughters of 1812 on the bicentennial. As you can see, a lot of people have left little tokens and coins to pay their homage to the soldiers who fought and died for Colonel Jackson and for the United States. Pretty amazing. This trail's amazing. Beautiful place. So let's carry on with our journey. We have a long ways to go. Just hope we get to Muscle Shoals by dark. There's just so much to see. I stopped off at another historical site. This one's pretty significant. This is the Tennessee Divide. This is the area of the high ground where the rivers that flow from here, if they flow to the south, they'll flow to the Tennessee River, and if they flow to the north of here, they flow into the Cumberland River. So this is a pretty significant spot right here. It's like a high point in the Tennessee Valley, and it separates it. So here's what they wrote about it. The high ground you're on is part of a long ridge that divides central Tennessee. Streams south of the divide flow to the Duck and Tennessee rivers, while streams to the north empty into the Cumberland River. Travelers in the early days of the Natchez Trace were more conscious of the divide. Moving on foot or on horseback, they noticed changes in elevation and stream direction. Going north towards Nashville, the Tennessee Valley Divide marks the edge of the frontier and the end of the Chickasaw Indian country. Amazing. They must have had a sigh of relief once they saw the rivers change directions. Amazing. Let's continue, shall we? Hey guys. Hey y'all, I'm back. Now this isn't of any historical significance at all. Just a quick scenic overlook of part of the Tennessee Valley that I'd share with you. Let's take a look. I'll tell you, when those traders got to this point, they must have been thinking, wow, we just have that one ridge ahead of us, then we're home free, at least to Nashville. We got a long ways to go. It's taking a lot longer than I thought. The speed limit's actually only 40 miles an hour here, but the road is flawless. Just beautiful road. Scenery's been great. It's getting greener the farther south I go, so. You know, I really appreciate you coming with me. It would suck to do this alone, so thanks for being here. Let's go see what else we can find. Talk to you soon. But it will be continued, so yes, this will be continued. Subscribe. Talk to you soon. Aloha. Okay, it's over. Go now.